I guess this wouldn't be YouTube if I didn't ask you to engage with the video if you like it by liking and subscribing or leaving a comment. Feel free to follow me on Twitter under Sussex Henry VIII, and thanks for watching this video. Hello! Welcome to Wednesday! It's good to be back. As usual, work was something else, so let's just say I'm very happy to be back here doing this with all of you. I wanted to take a moment and say a public thank you to Baron at the Royal Sussex channel. He's the reason this channel has grown so fast, and I so appreciate all of his shoutouts. Today, we are going to be talking about how Meghan Markle is a big fat bully. Apparently, despite Meghan having a decades-long career in one of the most cutthroat industries with zero complaints, in fact, just the opposite, everyone who's been willing to attach a name to a comment has had nothing but glowing things to say about her, Meghan Markle is in fact a bully. It was just a secret. We are going to put aside Thomas and Samantha, quote-unquote Markle, for a second, because honestly, two people who are only motivated by money and extending their 15 minutes of fame should be put aside, at least until Friday, because I'm doing a video about Samantha on Friday. But oh well, we're moving on. Now, let's be clear. This sham investigation into Meghan for allegedly bullying KP staff members could be put aside based on timing alone. Announced on Friday, March 5th, Harry and Meghan's Oprah interview would air on Sunday, March 7th. Since the interview has aired, we have heard absolutely nothing about this said investigation other than it is supposedly delayed. Harry and Meghan responded to the announcement of an unprecedented investigation less than 48 hours before a major interview and called it what it was, a smear campaign. Even royalists have had a hard time defending the timing because, let's be honest, unless you have your head firmly planted up the royal behind, it's suspicious. Also, announcing a bullying investigation against Meghan when there have been multiple allegations of decades of bad behavior from other senior royals is, I guess, true to form for the family, but also aggravating. Where are Prince Andrew's or Princess Anne's investigations? This is another area where I kick myself for not taking screenshots because there have also been accusations that Kate Middleton, along with her mother Carol, were incredibly difficult to work with. But of course, those are impossible to find now. The suspicious nature of the so-called investigation only gets worse past the timing of the announcement. The complaint was based around two senior staffers who, upon hearing their complaints had been made public, made it clear they had not been consulted before the announcement of the investigation, and they asked that their complaints be retracted. So, just to be clear, an unprecedented investigation is announced less than 48 hours before a blockbuster interview, where it's known that Harry and Meghan aren't going to necessarily be kind to the royal family. The investigation was announced before consulting the alleged victims of bullying, the same people who would then ask for the bullying complaints to be retracted, because they weren't even consulted before the investigation was announced, publicly. The timing problem only gets worse. It's been reported that the original complaints are from October of 2018. God, I wonder what else was happening in October of 2018. Oh yeah, the wildly successful Oceania tour. So again, the royal family would like you to believe that a woman who has successfully navigated a career in one of the toughest industries walked in after marrying Prince Harry in May of 2018 and just started being a jerk. But this bullying investigation wasn't even the first time that KP staff had leaked that they didn't like Meghan Markle. See, Meghan wasn't the only one supposedly being a jerk. Kensington Palace staff started leaking immediately to tabloid outlets. One could argue, relatively easily, that they were in fact publicly bullying Meghan from day one. Almost immediately, the palace had nicknames for Meghan: Duchess Difficult, Hurricane Meghan, and one that has stuck around, Megane, which, coming from another Meghan, is just incredibly stupid. Again, all of this was released publicly by KP staff. Now, some royalists would argue that it was just made up by the press, but to that I say, all of it? These same royalists lap up every negative Meghan story as certified fact, but would like you to believe that anything put out that paints the royals in a negative light is bull. It's mightily convenient. There was a multitude of whining, but I'm sure we all remember the main threads. Meghan had the audacity to get up early to do yoga, sent emails at 5 a.m., bombarded the people who worked for her with 5 to 7 texts a day. She had ideas, which Kensington Palace staff was not apparently used to. See, they would like you to think that this makes Meghan look bad. I would argue it does not. It makes the supposed leaders at KP look bad. Their staff was leaking against a brand new royal almost from day one, but they knew that because I'm here to tell you that there is zero, absolutely no chance the staff would have leaked to this degree without permission from somebody. Now, there are two names that come up over and over again in this supposed investigation. Simon Case, William's ex-private secretary, and if you remember from my last video, a high-ranking politico known as a close ally to Boris Johnson, and Jason Nauf. You guys know how good I am at pronouncing things, the guy in the middle, who was then the Kensington Palace press secretary. Now, again, I refuse to believe that either of these men would have acted independently of their principal royal, which in this case is Prince William. I also want to note here that when the investigation was announced, smaller news outlets went out of their way to point out that Jason Nauf is squarely Team Cambridge, and since had gotten a promotion. The top screenshot is from Bustle. I also want to bring back a screenshot from the last page because a narrative had already started to form. Harry, but namely Meghan, was mean to staff, while William and Kate were protective of them. Even through leaks, the heir versus spare hierarchy is being reinforced, which I believe reinforces my belief that William and Kate and their most senior staff knew and helped with these leaks because they were painting the principal royals of KP in a good light. Around this time, the leaks also started that William was angry with Meghan because, per usual, the only way large institutional media PR knows how to make a man look strong is by making him angry. I will once again argue that these leaks did not make Meghan look bad. They made her look like someone who took her new job seriously, and they made KP staff look like a bunch of lazy, leaky whiners. The existence of leak of this multitude make KP look weak. The height of these leaks, pre-March 2021, happened around the same time as the Meghan made Kate cry story, and this is where this tale once again takes a nasty turn. As the Sussexes are enjoying an incredibly successful tour, all of a sudden, two narratives are put in the forefront of British tabloids. The first is that this new Black American woman is hard to work with, that she's demanding. Then in addition, this new, difficult, demanding Black woman made our white Duchess cry. Like everything having to do with the royal family, even their racism is old and tired. The same man who yelled, "We are very much not a racist family," back to a planted question, was in charge of all of this as the principal royal of Kensington Palace. On top of the racism and the heir versus spare hierarchy being enforced, there was yet another narrative forming before the Oprah interview, where the palace was obviously afraid of what Meghan and or Harry would say, specifically about staff. Ever heard the phrase, "doth protest too much"? Why, in almost every single pre-interview article, were Kensington Palace staff mentioned? It's almost like they knew where Meghan's grievances might lie, and were already leading their captive royalist audience to not only brace for accusations, but then also hit them with a sham bullying investigation so that if and when Meghan did in fact make those accusations, they were already prepared with a rebuttal. This isn't new behavior from the royal family, or really any large institution that knows to a degree that it messed up. They did, and honestly still do, the same thing with Diana. The plan loosely becomes attack a person's character so when they make accusations, true or not, people won't believe them. I tell you guys now that it is no coincidence that the British royal family quickly circled the wagons around their staff. Out of all the things they could have announced on the eve of Harry and Meghan's interview, this is what they picked. I would argue yet again that this is evidence of guilt, or at least knowledge of wrongdoing. While Harry and Meghan might have shied away from severe allegations, they gave plenty of hints in the interview. Meghan was isolated and told she shouldn't leave the house. She alleges that she was not in control of her own personal documents. Harry and Meghan both allege that senior staff and family members were told that Meghan was feeling actively suicidal and wanted to seek inpatient treatment. They were told that wasn't a possibility. All this to say that I think some really bad shit went down at Kensington Palace, and the announcement of the so-called bullying investigation was to try and head off any accusations Meghan might have made during the Oprah interview at the pass. I also think it's notable that we have heard absolutely nothing for 5 months about this investigation. They weren't interested in investigating, they were interested in a distraction and a shield that was enforced by pre-existing racist notions that Black women are inherently difficult to work with. Meghan and Harry present a unique problem for the royal family in that they are no longer bound by the invisible contract. They can release things directly to American press outlets, which UK outlets have then no choice but to pick up. With spin, of course, but still. Much of the royal family's defense in arguments or battles past have relied on the UK media playing its part as defense. Now, they have to trade the rights to their own lives for that defense, but it's present. Meghan and Harry no longer play by those same rules. That's it for this one, guys. I will be back tomorrow with another video. I think my mom's actually coming back and we're going to talk about Prince Andrew for a little bit, so that will be interesting. See you tomorrow. Bye.